Hello everybody, this is Solar Tiger with another solar power video. Today is the 18th of August 2023 and this is going to be a bit of a battery update video. As you know, in the last video I bought a lithium iron phosphate battery from Amazon, and this is a follow-up video. So I bought the battery about 2 weeks ago and this is an update. So here in the battery box you can see the lithium iron phosphate battery. It's 12.8 volts, 100 amp hours, and this one is branded TSNA. It's a generic battery. I bought it from Amazon, and in the listing the brand is listed as generic. So, and as I said, if you try googling that brand it comes up with nothing. So it's a Chinese battery, generic battery, and they stick different labels on it. So I have seen at least 3 different labels for this, and they are all basically the same thing. So it's a sort of generic battery with different labels on. And outside you can see, or maybe you can't see, but it is hammering down with rain, which means it's very great solar weather. As you can see, it's raining. It's very cloudy. It is bright but cloudy, but we come back to that later. So this is my battery box for my indoor solar power system. It's a hobby system. I live in a house that's on the grid, so this is for a hobby system. Now in this battery box before there were 3 12 volt lead acid AGM batteries. They filled the entire battery box. There was 3 batteries, and those 3 batteries have been moved out to the shed. So there's 4 batteries in the shed, and that's that. So I use this system to power different things, such as I use my battery chargers to this battery charger and that battery charger to charge up all of my rechargeable batteries. I have lots of rechargeable batteries that I put in different things, such as LED lights, radios, and all manner of things that use rechargeable batteries. So that's what I have. Also I have all different battery packs for different things, and I charge those as well using the inverter. So that's that. I have LED lights, LED light over aquarium, fans, more LED lights, more fans. I charge this is where I charge up my phone. I charge up my iPad and other things. Also I run the mini computer, the bottom one, this one here. I do a little bit of cryptocurrency mining, again as a hobby. So that's what I use my system for. So, and I have other solar setups that you've probably seen on my channel that I charge other things with, and I can run lights in the power outage and stuff like that. So this is the TSNA branded battery, I've seen another version that's branded GooTab. I saw a version on Amazon in the Netherlands that was branded WeTech, I think it was called. So they're all variations of the same thing. So this battery cost 249 UK pounds. It was the cheapest LiFePo4 100 amp hour battery on Amazon UK. The price of it varies between 249 and 239 pounds. They seem to sell out very quickly, but they come into stock regularly, a couple at a time, not large quantities, so people are buying them. So I've had this for 2 weeks and it's working just great for me. Now, in the last video I did say that some of the values that are printed on the battery label do not tally up with the instruction sheet that came with it, especially if you want to charge and discharge at high currents, but I don't, so that's not a problem for me. I have a 300 watt solar power system with the 3 solar panels out there wired in series that feed my Victron MPPT solar charge controller. You can see here this is a 20 amp version, so at the most I can put 20 amps into the battery, or batteries if I get any more of them. So that's that. Ignore that charge controller, it's not connected. So that's what we got in there. So, and my discharges are not very high. This inverter is rated at 300 watts, and if I used it at maximum power I'll be drawing 30 amps from the battery, so that's okay. I don't usually use 300 watts from this inverter, as I only charge up power tool batteries and things like that. So that's what we got there. So you can see it's wired up. This is 16 millimeter square cable. It's good for 110 amps. It's overkill, but that's what I have. I also have a battery monitor, the Victron BMV712. This is a smart monitor with Bluetooth, so that's the display unit. Down here is the shunt wired in the negative side of the battery. So all of the loads and all of the charging sources are wired on this side of the shunt. So here we have the negative of the inverter, negative of the battery charger, and the negative of the solar charge controller. So that way the battery monitor can monitor all of the current or power going into the battery and coming out of the battery. Also, I said in the last video that I was going to buy a battery charger, because I need a battery charger that can charge LiFePo4 batteries, and I went on eBay and I bought this. This is a Victron Blue Smart charger, 12 volt 7 amps. I'll bring you to the box up here. So this is the Blue Power IP67 charger from Victron Energy, and this is a 12 volt only charger, and it can put out 7 amps. I paid about £65 second hand for this on eBay. I made an offer to the seller and that was accepted. So this is this. Do note that it came with an EU plug. Here is the EU plug. I believe this is called Shuko, I believe. And the only issue with that is in the UK we don't have Shuko plug sockets. If I show you a power strip, these are UK sockets, and you clearly see that this plug won't fit in that socket. So the first thing I did when I got it was I chopped off the plug and fitted a UK standard plug that has a 3 amp fuse in it. So that's that. I shall dispense the plug. Obviously if you bought a new one and you cut off the plug, it would invalidate your 5-year warranty. Obviously mine does not have a 5-year guarantee because it was second hand, but all Victron stuff comes with a 5-year guarantee. Also it says it's high efficiency, which is good. Puts more of your grid power into the battery. This is an IP67 charger. It's meant to be installed in dusty, damp conditions. It keeps the moisture and dust out of the charger. There's no vents into the charger. Say like this kind of charger has vents where dust and stuff can get in it. So this is a more kind of rugged charger. The casing is solid metal. I believe it's aluminium. It's solid. It's got a good heatsink on it. It has 2 indicator lights on it. But the key thing is it's Bluetooth. So if we switch the box round, sorry about the shakiness of the camera. Right, these are the specifications of it. It has a adaptive 4-stage charging curve for fully automatic charging. It has an input voltage range of 180 to 265 volts. We use 220 to 230 volts here in the UK. The 12 volt 7 amp model has a 90% efficiency. That's good. And when it has finished charging your batteries, the standby consumption is only half a watt. It's highly reliable because it has a big heatsink and they don't stress the components inside. A good thing with this charger is it will charge up flat LiFePo4 batteries where the low voltage cutout has operated. So you can charge it with this charger. It will wake up the battery and start charging it. As I said, this charger can charge both lead acid and lithium iron phosphate batteries, so that's good. You can charge both types of batteries. It has an over temperature protection and the cord length is 1.5 meters, both for the AC and for the DC. So this is what we got. I like Victron products because they are well made, and as I said, this has the Bluetooth, so via the Bluetooth you can monitor charging the battery, so at what voltage it's at, what current it's drawn. You can see how many amp hours you put into it. You can select between different modes. You can switch to a low power mode if you're charging smaller batteries. It has a mode that you can use this as a DC power supply, if you want to, so you can power things directly with it without connecting to a battery, and that means it just puts out a straight DC voltage. It doesn't go through its charging curves, so that's one thing it can do. So, and you can monitor this with your phone, tablet, computer, etc. to see what it's doing. So that's that. Right. So at the moment outside it's raining, it's miserable. This is the UK. It's renowned for its rainy weather. So that's an issue with solar. You can install as many solar panels as you want outside, but you are at the mercy of the weather. So I have 300 watts of solar panels. I am bringing in about, well, I'll show you. I'm bringing in all of 8 watts. So that's something to bear in mind with solar. You can install as many solar panels as you like, but if the weather doesn't want to play ball, you will produce next to no power. So that's that. So at the moment, the battery's at 13.1 volts. I'm drawing 20 watts from it to power my devices, and the battery monitor says that the battery is at 59%. That's through the BMV 712. That's what the battery monitor is for. Obviously, when I changed the battery, I had to change the amp hour capacity on the battery monitor, so I put in 100 amp hours. So with lithium batteries, you can actually use the capacity that's stated on it. So this battery states it has 100 amp hours of capacity. I can draw it all the way down to 0, or until the low voltage cutout operates, and I can charge it up again with no issue. Obviously the battery will do fewer cycles if you discharge it down to 0%. You'll still do at least 2,000 or 3,000 cycles, but if you discharge it a lot less, it will do a lot more cycles. So if you find yourself going right down to 0%, you'll probably be better off adding more batteries, because your batteries will last longer in the long term. Now, I said that this battery costs 249 UK pounds. That is the cheapest battery available. Most batteries are a lot more expensive. You can pay thousands for a battery, depending on what quality you get. And as I said in the last video, this does not have a Bluetooth BMS. So you cannot view the cell voltages, and you can't change any parameters. But that's what you get for buying a budget battery. But for me, it's working just fine. So if you use lead acid batteries like I was using before, then you'll find that when you're using the battery and it's not particularly sunny, then the battery voltage will go down to 12 point something, and that's what you're running your devices on. I used to find it used to go down to 12.3, 12.2, something like that, and that's fairly low. Bearing in mind, with lead acid batteries, you only have half the capacity that's stated on them. So I had 3 100 amp hour batteries. I actually effectively had a 150 amp hour battery. Also, my batteries were about 9 years old, so I probably had a lot less than the 150 amp hours to play with. So the thing with lithium batteries is that they have a higher terminal voltage. The nominal voltage is 12.8 volts, and you charge them up to, I'm charging mine up to 14.2, but the instruction sheet said you could go up to 14.6 if you wanted to. Obviously, if you stick with a lower voltage, you'll have a longer service life in total. So I'm charging up to 14.2, and for most of the discharge the voltage stays above 13 volts, which is good for a 12 volt system. It means things will work decently well, and that's great. Now, we had a reasonably sunny day yesterday, and it's now 11 o'clock in the morning, and I've been charging my stuff overnight, and I'm running the Chromebox 3 on solar, and this time we are at 59%. Now, if I've been running on the lead acid batteries, I would have gone down a lot further, so that's something to bear in mind. Lithium batteries can give out more power, and they maintain a higher voltage for most of the discharge curve, and then it drops off right at the end, but hopefully you don't discharge your batteries to that point. So that's that. So even though I bought this very cheap battery, I'm finding it works very well for my needs. Now, understand that my needs means I don't draw large currents from the battery, because between the label on the battery and the instruction sheet said that the standard discharge was just 20 amps, and the label on the battery, I believe, said 50 amps, or I think 50 amps. So I think the BMS in this cannot handle high currents. So if you're going to be running high powered inverter or something like that, probably you're better off buying a more expensive battery that has a BMS that can handle, say, 100 amps, 150 amps or something like that. But that kind of battery will not cost you £249. It will cost you £500, £600, £700 maybe. So, as people say, you do get what you pay for. But what you need depends on your particular circumstances. And in my circumstances, a standard discharge of 20 amps is plenty good enough for me. So, with the battery charger, running this Chromebox, which runs about 30 watts, I use this charger, a 7 amp charger, and it charged the battery whilst running the Chromebox overnight. So overnight it charged the battery right up with no problems. So that's what I can say about the Victron charger. I would say with the Victron charger, if I bought another battery, or if I went mad and say I bought 3 batteries altogether, if I had 300 amp hours of batteries, I probably need to buy a charger with more than 7 amps output. But again, it's down to a budget and your system. Now, I might buy another battery to see me in the winter. I'd probably just stay with 2 if I did buy another battery, because these 100 amp hour LiFePo4 batteries, one of these batteries is supposed to be equivalent of 2 of the 100 amp hour AGM batteries. So this would take the place of 2 batteries, and if I had another battery, that would take the place of 4 batteries. So that's that. Also, they take up less space, and that's a good thing. And the biggest thing is these only weigh about 10 or 11 kilograms, which is important if you're putting it in your RV or caravan or in your boat. It's a lot less weight. So this is Solar Tiger saying thank you for watching, and at the moment this budget battery is doing very well. So if you have a light power requirements, I would recommend this battery. So this is Solar Tiger saying thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye. Thank you.